Your responsibility lies in realizing your child's future dreams. Minimoto Dayada Children's Insurance from Sri Lanka Insurance. Call 235-7357.
In a few moments, the news.
Sri Lanka Insurance, like a father, like a mother.
This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
The time 6:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here is the news edited by Romesh Piris and read by Tilani Piris. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa says ensuring national security is the first and foremost responsibility of the government. The former president summoned before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry tomorrow. Police curfew imposed in Dulapitiya and Minuwangoda. The army commander says the army will trace the root cause of the outbreak. COVID-19 recoveries on the increase. Second-term school holidays begin tomorrow. And on international news, the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, major cities hit as heavy fighting continues. Sports news, cricket, Lanka Premier League postponed by a week. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa says ensuring national security is the first and foremost responsibility of the government. Issuing a statement, the president said he is not prepared to hand over power of arresting or arbitrarily releasing people to politicians, as he claimed happened in the past. The head of state added he will also take action to rectify any omissions or mistakes made by relevant authorities or officials. President Rajapaksa assured citizens that he will not forsake the trust they placed in him and reiterated he will continue to work towards strengthening the people's trust. A police curfew has been imposed until further notice to all 127 Grama Seva divisions within the Minuwangoda and Dulapitiya police areas. Acting Inspector General of Police Chandana Vikramaratne, issuing a statement, said persons within the Grama Seva divisions must remain at residences during the curfew period. The statement added entering curfew-imposed areas, leaving such areas and travelling across the police divisions is strictly prohibited. The police curfew is imposed in accordance with provisions of the Quarantine and Prevention of Diseases Ordinance of 1897, number 3. The commander of the army, Lieutenant General Shavendra Silva, says the family of the COVID-19 positive individual in Dulapitiya has been directed to quarantine together with other families she interacted with. Speaking during a media briefing at the National Operations Centre for Prevention of COVID-19 outbreak, the Army commander said the government supervisor, together with others who she commuted in private office transport, have been directed to quarantine last night. Lieutenant General Silva added they are inquiring into how the individual contracted the coronavirus, claiming the Army will trace the root cause of the outbreak within the coming days. The number of coronavirus recoveries in Sri Lanka has risen to 3,258 after 4 persons were discharged during the past 24 hours. The number of infections in the country presently stands at 3,396. Accordingly, 125 COVID-19 cases, including 22 foreign nationals, are presently being treated for the virus. 42 individuals are being treated on suspicion of having contracted the coronavirus. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Minimoto Dayada Children's Insurance from Sri Lanka Insurance. Call 235-7357.
The Minister of Education says all schools in the island will be closed from tomorrow. The ministry said the second school term holidays that was due to commence on the 9th of October has accordingly been brought forward. The ministry said all government schools will therefore close tomorrow, the 5th of October. Accordingly, the media spokesman for Archdiocese Colombo said all Catholic schools would also be closed from tomorrow, parallel to the government's decision. The Ministry of Women's Affairs and Child Development says all preschools and periwinners will also be closed from tomorrow island-wide until further notice due to COVID-19 concerns. Moreover, the University of Kelaniya will be closed for 1 week from tomorrow, the 5th of October. Senior lecturer of mass communication at the University of Kelaniya, Vijayananda Rupasinghe, said the decision was reached as a safety measure with the identification of a COVID-19 patient from Dewlapitiya. The senior lecturer added the Vikramarachi Ayurveda Institute, which is also affiliated with the Kelaniya University, will be closed for the same period. Meanwhile, the Commissioner General of Prisons, Tushara Upuldeniya, says a decision has been taken to temporarily halt the visitations of the Mahara and Nigambo prisons with immediate effect. That ends the local news for now.
In the ever-changing world, our children's dreams are much larger. We need to plan ahead if we want to make their dreams a reality.
The King of Insurance introduces the Minimutu Dayada Children's Insurance. 125% of the sum assured after maturity. Mother, father or guardian receives 5 times the insured amount as the insurance cover. 1,000 rupees per day hospitalization cover. Your responsibility lies in realizing your child's future dreams. Minimutu Dayada Children's Insurance from Sri Lanka Insurance. Call 235-7357.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Veda Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The former President Maithripala Sirisena is scheduled to appear before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry appointed to probe the Easter Sunday terror attacks that took place on 21st April 2019. The Presidential Commission of Inquiry issued notice to the former President on the 22nd of September to report to the Commission tomorrow at 10 a.m. Former Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe is scheduled to appear before the Commission the day after tomorrow. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
And on Watch Light this evening, all private and Sri Lanka Transport Board buses will only be allowed to transport passengers according to the seating capacity of the bus. The decision will be implemented with immediate effect. This is with the identification of a COVID-19 patient employed at an apparel factory from Dewlapitiya, Minwangoda. That came to you in Watch Light. And we move on with the world news and the headlines first. Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, major cities hit as heavy fighting continues. UK's Home Secretary promised an overhaul of broken asylum system. Peace deal sealed in Sudan. Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, major cities hit as heavy fighting continues. Azerbaijan's second largest city, Ganja, has been shelled by Armenian forces as heavy clashes continue over the disputed Nagorno-Karabakh region. The enclave is officially part of Azerbaijan but run by ethnic Armenians. The self-proclaimed authorities say they hit Ganja's military airport after Azerbaijani forces shelled the region's capital. Stefan Kurt, more than 100 people are now known to have been killed, including civilians since the fighting began a week ago. Armenia and Azerbaijan are blaming each other for the heaviest clashes since 2016. The United Kingdom's Home Secretary Priti Patel is to commit to delivering the biggest overhaul of the UK's asylum system in decades. Ms. Patel will tell the Conservative Party conference the system is fundamentally broken and is expected to promise one that is firm and fair. That includes expediting the removal of those who have no claim for protection. It comes after it emerged this week the UK has considered sending asylum seekers to an island in the Atlantic. Sudan's transitional authorities and several rebel groups have signed a peace deal aimed at resolving decades of conflict. A signing ceremony was held yesterday in Juba, the capital of neighboring South Sudan. The head of Sudan Sovereign Council, Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, and representatives from rebel groups attended. The deal is the result of long negotiations after President Omar al-Bashir was overthrown last year in a coup sparked by public protests. The pact includes a comprehensive ceasefire. The parties also agreed that rebel fighters will be integrated in the Sudanese military and some regions will be granted autonomy. Back to the world news headlines. Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, major cities hit as heavy fighting continues. UK's Home Secretary promised an overhaul of broken asylum system. Peace deal sealed in Sudan. That ends world news. Now we move on with development news. The University of Peradeniya, in conjunction with the Department of Animal Products and Health, has planned to jointly implement a research project as One Health Poultry Hub with the Royal Veterinary College of the United Kingdom, with the contribution of Research Fund for Global Challenges of the United Kingdom. It is expected from this research project to improve the chicken and egg production identification and directing the production activities to an accurate path, utilizing the technical and human resources by developing them subsequent to identification of issues when directing local poultry industry towards the export market. The Research Fund for Global Challenges of the United Kingdom has agreed to award 700,000 sterling pounds for this project for a period of 5 years. That came to you on development news. And on sports news, Sri Lanka Cricket has decided to readjust the commencement date of the Lanka Premier League in order to ensure that participating players have adequate time to meet quarantine requirements as per the government's health regulations. Issuing a statement, SLC said, accordingly, the commencement of the LPL, which was scheduled to start on the 14th of November 2020, will be shifted to the 21st of November 2020. The Lanka Premier League will consist of 5 franchises, whilst each can buy up to 6 international players. That's sports news.
The wait is over and it's time for you to experience happiness. It's time to remap the graph for success. It's time to rebuild your empire. It's time to initiate your entrepreneur dreams. Empower your dreams with NSB Wings. Get your 2-year personal loan for just 7% per annum, starting from 500,000 rupees to 10 million rupees. All you need is just one guarantee. NSB Wings. Recharge the high goal.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Morrison PLC, a unit of Colombo-based Hemas Holdings PLC, has opened an $18.5 million pharmaceuticals plant which can make 5 billion pills a year, which the firm says can supply 20% of consumption in the country. Morrison PLC, which was bought by Sri Lanka's Hemas Holdings in 2013, claims to be the largest oral solid pharmaceutical manufacturer in Sri Lanka. The $18.5 million plant was built collaborating with the Sri Lanka Institute of Nanotechnology, a science park operated as a public-private partnership. That came to you in Business News.
The wait is over and it's time for you to experience happiness. It's time to remap the graph for success. It's time to rebuild your empire. It's time to initiate your entrepreneur dreams. Empower your dreams with NSB Wings. Get your 2-year personal loan for just 7% per annum, starting from 500,000 rupees to 10 million rupees. All you need is just one guarantee. NSB Wings. Recharge the high goal.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The central bank...
Economic news, courtesy of...
Hello, Puta, did you land already?
We're in transit and our flight got delayed.
How is Shani? Poor thing with her pregnancy.
Calm down, everything is sorted. Why, I have my LOLC World Card with me. We are at the VIP lounge.
LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
The central bank said Sri Lanka has repaid $1 billion sovereign bond falling due this week. The central bank said with the country unable to roll over the bond due to high secondary market yields following global jitters and credit downgrades. The central bank noted that this settlement reconfirms the government's unwavering commitment to honour its foreign liabilities, thereby bolstering investor confidence and dispelling any concerns foreign investors may have in relation to the government's ability and willingness to maintain its unblemished debt servicing record. That was economic news.
Congratulations on your promotion. Heard you gave a treat for everyone in your department yesterday.
Yeah.
When will be our treat, huh?
Well, how about today?
Oh no, I was just joking. We'll have a party with your new salary.
It's fine. I have my LOLC credit card with me. Let's go out today.
Those who spread goodness radiate happiness to everyone around them. Introducing LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
The Met Department says except for a few showers in the western, Sabaragamuwa and central provinces and in the Galle and Mathura districts, mainly fair weather will prevail elsewhere over the island. Fairly strong gusty winds of about 40 to 50 kilometers per hour can be expected in the northern, north central, northwestern and southern provinces, Nuwara and Trincomalee districts and in the western slopes of the central hills. That came to you in our weather report.
Weather report was sponsored by
CIB Janajaya Vasana 15th phase offer from 14th September to 11th October. Win gifts worth in 100,000s for every over 3,000 rupees bill. Visit CIB today.
Weather report was sponsored by
CIB Janajaya Vasana 15th phase offer from 14th September to 11th October. Win gifts worth in 100,000s for every over 3,000 rupees bill. Visit CIB today.
And now to end this news broadcast, the main points once again. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa says ensuring national security is the first and foremost responsibility of the government. The former president summoned before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry tomorrow. Police curfew imposed in Dewlapitiya and Muniwangoda. The army commander says the army will trace the root cause of the outbreak. COVID-19 recoveries on the increase. Second-term school holidays begin tomorrow. And on international news, Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, major cities hit as heavy fighting continues. And on sports news cricket, Lanka Premier League postponed by a week.